Hi everyone. So that's February, done already. Short February, innit? This is a recap of all of the stuff that happened in February, all the videos that happened. There'll be a video shortly with all the stuff that's coming up for March. Not to diminish February, but really excited about March. But let's get to what happened in February. So playthroughs we had, I've got it written down as an actual pad and everything. Playthroughs are Faiyum, which was a solo playthrough, which is a new game by Freedom and Freeze about spreading out settlements and stuff in Egypt. The kind of key to the game is this huge deck of cards, all of them different from each other, and the card market is always in numerical order. And so depending on how those cards come out, you might get access to some really powerful cards early on in the game, or you might be stuck going through some sequentially. And it's about leveraging these cards the most because they go into your discard pile and you have to retrieve them in that same order as well, getting the first 3 for free and then paying in the solo game progressively more and more for all the cards that you want to get back. So you're inevitably going to abandon cards in there at a certain point and work out what is the most valuable to you at that time and try and build a network of roads and settlements and stone quarries. That's the word I was trying to think for. Stone makers? Yeah, all sorts of things going on in there. You're always going to encounter the same games, the same cards, and it can get a little long because of that, but I think it's it's a fresh and different and fantastically designed game. See it in the playthrough though, can't you? The Wingspan Oceania, absolutely love Wingspan. See a video soon about that where I talk about just how much I love Wingspan, as well as the videos for Wingspan itself. The Oceania expansion came out last year. Tons more birds, basically an entire new deck of birds, which you can mix in with all of the old stuff, as well as new goal tiles, new goal cards for the players as well. And the kind of key new thing here is nectar, which can be used as a wild food resource, but also there is a majority going on for the nectar. Depending on which habitat you spend it in, it goes onto the board rather than just out into the world, and whoever spent the most there is going to get the most points. I'm too close to the table, I'm knocking the microphone, and Marty is right over there snoring really loudly. I don't know if that's quick enough. Bet it won't pick up on the microphone. It's just for me. Tobago Volcano. Tobago is a fantastic, different kind of, I keep calling it a deduction. It's not really a deduction game. We are trying to work out where buried treasure is on this island, but rather than trying to work out a puzzle, we're kind of making that puzzle. We play clue cards to these various treasures, gradually diminishing the places that it can be until it can only be in one spot on the board, and that's where you can raise the treasure, and based on how much you contributed to that treasure you get to draw that many treasure cards, but then they're all shuffled up and the order that you contributed to them decides, do you want this one, yes or no, hoping that you'll get your hands on the better treasures and not be left with nothing. But then there's curse cards in the deck as well, that if they come up while you're going for the treasure and you still got stuff to be claimed, you lose everything that's left, and maybe some more of your most valuable treasure that's lying around as well. 10 years after it came out, it got an expansion last year, the Volcano expansion, which puts a great big volcano smack dab in the middle of the island, as well as a lava system where every time somebody picks up an amulet, lava starts spreading, and you can use that to cut off areas of the board, basically make it harder to traverse because you can only drive across it if you use an amulet to do so. You can even destroy treasure by putting it in lava as well, especially if a treasure is about to be raised and you aren't involved in it at all. That's a way that you could do it as well. There's new global clues as well, where you can purposely play clues that break the rules, and instead of those rules actually going on there, those clues, you can use one of the global ones, which is to do with either next to or not next to volcano or the lava as well. I think kind of with Tobago in general, since we have now played it as a 4-player game, the 2-player game does feel like it's a little bit sparse in comparison, and I think the Volcano expansion kind of adds to that even more, that you want a lot of people roaming around. You want the volcano to get in people's ways, and you probably want to be a bit more of an interactive game that would like the threat of treasure being destroyed and stuff. We know that Rach and I, that neither of us are going to do that to each other, so it might as well not be an option in there for us. But hey, Tobago Volcano, I'm going on too long about these. Alubari, I did a playthrough for Originally, it probably would have been 2019 when it came out, Essen that year. It's Amped Up Snowdonia, a game that I already love massively. You can hear me in many videos talking about my love of that. You can now give your workers chai to boost their actions, so as well as digging rubble, they'll dig a load of extra rubble. You'll get a load of extra resource conversions if you give your workers some chai, because who isn't picked up by a nice cup of tea, which I also, as much as I have grown to love the name Alubari, still wish the game was called A Nice Cup of Tea. But I never did a solo playthrough for it, and it was requested and fulfilled. And you can see me try and go for... you're trying to score points, of course, in the solo version of Alubari, but you're also trying to go for this big sheet of achievements as well, which is a cool way of making you go for all sorts of different strategies. Then we had Cakes, which is a Kickstarter playthrough, but maybe a different kind of game, especially if you're into, if you're here for the medium weight Euros that I still love so much. This is a dexterity balancing game. If you've played the close things that I've played already that are like it are, Cat Tower or Rhino Hero, where you have those special cards that fold in the middle and you're trying to make either skyscrapers or great big cat towers out of them. This is a similar kind of system to that, but you're making cakes. So you're putting, you're folding up these layer cards and then putting filling cards in between them as kind of floors to make these great big cake stacks. You fulfill orders to try and meet, you need one 3 stacks high, and maybe it needs a cherry, which is a cube on top of it. The thing balances in your hand as well, rather than on the table. So you've got that extra, well, wobbliness, especially in my case. But yeah, it's you can also be, I forgot the second thing I was going to say. You can also be ignoring all of that kind of fast, frantic action, and you can be sitting there trying to stack 10 layers of these cakes, which is very, very, very tall. And you can see us try that because Rachel, I don't think Rachel's been in a playthrough for a long, long time. She's very, very busy. Education isn't treated very well in this country, as in many countries, I imagine. But hey, I know about here. Yeah. What am I talking about? Cakes. She's in the playthrough of Cakes. It's kind of a real-time dexterity thing, so it would just be me maybe having one in both hands. If I was playing with Marty, he's not up for really holding cakes. But yeah, she joins me for this, where we play through it twice in a best of 3. So as soon as you've watched game 1, you can kind of intuit yourself who won the second one. And then we have a go at seeing if we can make the 10 cake high tower. Do we do it? You have to see. Aeon's End Outcasts. Absolutely love Aeon's End. I think my playthrough is of the original first edition version, maybe. Although maybe the second, maybe the upgrade pack had come out by then. Absolutely love it since it first came out. And yeah, I've tried to keep up. I haven't got all the small box expansions, but I've got all of the big box standalone things. We played all the way through Legacy. I did a video for that as well. I think I did an overview for War Eternal, but itching to get back to playing through it, especially since it tells you as a channel operator that these are your most popular videos this month, and Aeon's End is one of the ones that consistently keeps popping up in those top 10s, even though it's 2017 that video now. And just because it's so great, isn't it? But Outcasts kind of continues this thing that Aeon's End has been doing with its expansions, where they're all standalone things, and you could, if you wanted to, just take all of these mages and nemesis and all of the extra cards and stuff, mix it all together, and just shuffle it all up for some more variety in your Aeon's End. But it's parceled out chapter by chapter. You are still playing through the story that started with Legacy, and then went through New Age, and now it's Outcasts. And yeah, as you play through the story, you unlock new elements. You can see in the playthrough which big exciting thing gets unlocked at the end of game 1. If you want to, of course. Spoilers for what is going to happen in it, but I think it's really, really exciting. And it's kind of, I didn't know this was happening, but it's kind of good timing because the Legacy of Gravehold campaign has launched on Kickstarter now, which is going to end this great big story arc with another Legacy game that is got tons and tons of content in it. But basically, if you want to see some more Aeon's End, I did another playthrough. I feel like I'm a lot shorter in these recap things usually. Valeria Card Kingdoms is the final one that should have come up very recently. It hasn't come up when I filmed this. Back to the Future stuff. Valeria Card Kingdoms is getting an expansion base. It's going to have another playthrough in not too far ahead in the future called Darksworn, which makes it a cooperative game. But playing through the prototype of that, well, before we even got the prototype, we were playing it on Tabletop Simulator, because who knows if things are getting to England these days. But it did. It's coming up. Playthrough is coming up. For Valeria Card Kingdoms, it's made me realise that I've never done any playthrough for it, and I really, really love it. And playing through it again it's kind of reminded me of that it's, you know, we loved Magic Horror when it came out, in where you roll dice, everyone gets something, you're trying to buy more cards with numbers on them so that when your number comes up you'll get more things or more exciting interactions. Valeria Card Kingdoms kind of replaced it for us, because just in its base game it felt like it offered so much more variety, and not just the citizens, the cards with the numbers on that you could recruit. You got a different thing whether it was your turn or someone else's turn. It had the kingdom cards where you are encouraged to get certain citizens with certain symbols on, so you're able to buy those, but they can give you loads of different powers as well. You're fighting enemies at the top. Yeah, it's great. So Marty is snoring again. It's distracting. So yeah, a full playthrough of that has just happened as well. Overviews, Kickstarters that happened. Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising, a new big standalone for one of my favourite games from last year. Adds a load of new stuff, as well as, you know, if you just already like the base game, it's more heroes, it's more enemies. You can mix and match the heroes in both games as well. Gloomhaven and Forgotten Circles eRaptor insert. It got delayed from my other eRaptor things, but I finally caught up with it, and I think, yeah, if maybe you're not into Gloomhaven or wooden insert videos, but I thought this one was very fun to make. You might find it funny. It's quite short as well. Trying to go shorter on some of these things. Clearly not recap videos though. This one's going to be forever. Posthuman Saga, The Journey Home. Love Posthuman Saga. Did a video for the original Kickstarter, and for its final version I did a big solo playthrough for it. The new expansion adds different ways of scoring. You know, there are cards that you're trying to work towards that everybody is racing for, so you potentially lose out on there. Whole new big storybook in there, tons of new stuff. Just an overview of some of it. Really excited to see more. And Roman Roll Gladiators. Again, covered Roman Roll's original Kickstarter. It's a medium weight Euro roll and write game. Yeah, not like we used to, you know, them being fun filler games. Absolutely love roll and writes, but this definitely takes it to the next level. Covered that for its original Kickstarter as well, and absolutely loved it. Hopefully we'll do a playthrough of it at some point, but Gladiators puts noughts and crosses in it. I'm not joking about that. It's, you know, people have managed to make bingo and things like that a viable Euro game. This manages to put noughts and crosses in a meaty Euro game and make it work beautifully. You are fighting in an arena, and based on which school you are fighting for, you put an nought or a cross in the grid, and you'll get more points if you can make your the school that you are invested in the most win. As well as new cards and powers and things. Tons of new stuff. Fantastic if you are into Roman Roll. So there we go. I feel like, kind of, rather than having to say, oh, all of this has happened and we're moving and all of this, I feel like things are moving more now, that more stuff is getting made, which is great, because I always feel like I wanted to make more. I want to get to a rate that's, you know, maybe at a certain point I was doing something like 3 playthroughs a week or something like that, and that was fantastic for whatever time that was. But you know, circumstances are different, and I think just in general, need to kind of remind myself and be okay with the fact that things take me longer to make these days as well. Not necessarily the actual filming of the stuff, but definitely the editing. More time and more care goes into the editing and all of the behind the scenes stuff that's involved here. And maybe you're not interested in that side of things, but yeah, just know that all of the time goes into trying to make all of this stuff. And hey, if you would like more things to be made, patreon.com/slickerdrips. Nice little plug for you there. Hopefully there will be even more in March, and some new things that I'm really, really excited about. Will be a whole new arrivals vote as well coming up in a few days if you are a voter on Patreon, so you can decide what I'm going to be playing through first here. There's still going to be stuff coming up. There's still stuff waiting in the wings to come up. There's Eternal Palace and Oil Town, or Kickstarters that are coming up very soon. I mentioned Valeria Card Kingdoms, Darksworn, the co-op expansion, and the Magnificent Snow, the expansion to the Magnificent. Done a full solo playthrough for that. That'll be coming out in March very, very soon as well. But thank you for watching, subscribing, supporting on Patreon, whatever it is you do. Thank you for being here. I really, really appreciate it. I'll see you in March. Bye, everyone.